nick that little thing off.
I'll be cutting nothing.
Then we gotta cut this. Like that. And like that. And then take this little section out.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like that. I should have been an artist. Alright, cut that off.
Now we gotta make them fit. Now you just cut it out.
Trying to leave enough meat on this so I can mount the bulb.
It'll get there.
Alright, so on these bezels, we're trying to make them fit. So first thing is, it's got these little lips. We're gonna modify that like I did that one, and then we'll try to get it as close as we can and keep like same thing we did with that side. So. And then it ends up like that. We got screws that we're going to be pulling through there.
I'm gonna make them a little nervous.
Hey.
What?
Yeah, you look great.
All right. See out of those glasses though.
All right, so that's what we're doing now. And I'm gonna start modifying this side to make it go like that. And then we're gonna put a spacer behind here,
Give me
draw that in as tight, and then make this all line up with all this as best we can. All right? All right, so we got these fitted on the side, fitted on the corner.
Come on.
This gap, we're gonna fill in. That's why we put the tape on it. So when it's all said and done, it'll look good. Top one. So we're gonna set this up in place, take it off of fiberglass or bondo it all up, and I gotta get the headlights to work in there too now, so.
I can see the light through it.
Oh, I know that. You good like that? That's good?
Yeah.
All right, so now that'll line up with that because we're gonna suck that in.
Oh, here.
You got one of those? Right?
Okay. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
No, I ain't doing anything.
It's doing
It's
it.
getting
So
there,
that's
yeah.
gonna go like that, right? And that'll line up with that right there.
A little tighter there. Hang on. It's still not. Okay. At least
Right,
it's not
that's
flopping
good.
around.
And then this, we're gonna put a spacer behind it and bring it out
To meet that.
like that. So that'll sit like that. Okay?
Alright, we're gonna get the spacer in there.
And same thing on the other side. So put a spacer in there, put the nut and bolt through that. This is all nice. This will be done. You have bezels and a grill and headlights. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. How's it look? Josh, move your arm a minute. Actually looks really good. Probably didn't even have gaps like that from the factory. So now the other thing we got to do is we got to just fill all this in.
That's better.
And then I got to get 2 old headlight rings so I could cut the little ears off, put them in there, make a circular hole, right? And then mount the headlights. That's got to be really close cut. Like that's got to be like within. So this is the headlight ring. I got to cut within this line so that the headlights sit in there and still have a seat, and then this will be able to be bolted on. So that's the next step. So we'll do that tomorrow. All right, so we're back at it this morning after being out here yesterday messing with this thing, and I had both sides of these bezels on, and I couldn't figure out why one wasn't sitting right. I'm like, man, I thought I drilled the hole wrong. I just couldn't figure out what happened. So I went back in the house. I just came out this morning. I'm looking at it. And I took this side off because the grill, where the grill met up with it, it was in line. And where the grill met up with that side was in line. I had done this side first. It looked good. All right, so it had the same looking gap down here all the way across. I figured, okay, well, it's nice and even. At least it looks good. I mean, even though it's not right, but it's not something that's, crazy noticeable. But then on the other side, as I went to this side, all right, that gap was a little bigger, which is not much bigger, just a hair. It was pretty even actually, not too bad. But then the bezel sat way up. So now I take the bezel off to look at it. And the mold, the fiberglass mold is actually, look, that's a good 2 fingers. I mean, I'll measure it, but it's good, right? This part of it right here, above the bumper. And then you go over here, and it's only like an inch and a half, a finger and a half. This side's nice and straight across and everything. It's like pretty good. This side, it goes from that same size up, and it gets bigger and bigger. It's like on an angle like that. That's what the bezel look like. And I'm like, why is the bezel looking like that? So that whole thing is actually up and out, I guess. because even that's not correct. It's kind of like tilted in compared to this one. This one is like straight up and down, right? And then this one is like on an angle, like that a little bit. So, you're gonna have to live with that. You ain't doing nothing with that. That means redoing the whole, cutting that whole thing out and redoing that whole thing. Now you ain't doing that. I'm gonna put the bezel back on and then I'll show you what it looks like from one side to the other. But I mean, you could see how much higher that is compared to that. All right, so it was in my eyes. Let me put it back together and I'll show you. All right, so now you can see it a little better, what I'm talking about. See how that sits flat, straight up and down? And see how that one sits a little crooked and higher up. On this side, it's higher. So I'm gonna try. Taking this off here. I'm gonna try. I don't know if I'm gonna mess this all up. I'm gonna try cutting this down flush like this and seeing if it drops down. But I'm thinking it's this whole, that whole thing got moved. So I'm gonna try moving this, cutting this up like that, so at least it sits down. But I don't know if it's gonna work. But I'm gonna try it. All right, so what I ended up doing was grinding the top of that little platform up. I mean, it's still a bigger gap. And then the other side actually fits exactly with the rest of the grill. And then this side sits a little higher. But at least it's not like cocked to one side. Well, looks a lot better. So now we got to go in here and fill this gap and fill this gap on both sides. This mold is like, all right, and get that done. Try to fill those gaps in like that. You can almost see they're different if you really look at it. That one's more, this is more pronounced here than this side. But that's fiberglass for you. All right, let me get to doing that, and then I got to go pick up some screws to finish putting that in, and a couple little spacers we're gonna put in there to make the grill line up with the bezels, and then it should be good. I mean, at least we got a grill and bezels. I gotta work on the headlights too. All right, so now I just traced this ring. All right, that's a regular headlight ring. I got that in there, right, as close as I could get it. Traced out the inner ring so that the headlight will fit in that hole and it'll still have a little ridge or a ledge to sit on, and then we'll be able to use this ring hopefully to bolt it in, and then I'll just refiberglass all this stuff that's missing around the edges to hold it in place and make sure it don't fall out. I'm gonna do that first. So this, when I do all this glass work up here and back there, I'm gonna kind of do that all at one time. See how that looks. I'm gonna cut this hole out first and see what I gotta do next after that. Okay, got some holes for some headlights, but now we got to fill in from the back side, fill in all that's missing. This is where we got somewhere to mount the ring to, and the headlight will sit against that as a ledge, and then the ring will hold it in place. So these are, they're plastic, so let's see. Yeah, they're plastic, I think. Yeah, I believe they're plastic, but they're light anyway. So we'll get them in place. All right, so next thing I got to do now is I'm gonna go take a ride and get some screws to hold the grill in place, like I said, and then I'll get some stainless steel screws and locking nuts to hold the rings in place, and then I'll get the Johnny and Josh help me take the nose off the car and do some fiberglass and some Mondo work on the top there, mold all this crap together. Then I'll be able to mount the headlights in it, put the bezels back in it, put the grill back in it, or in the right place. And then that should be done as far as that goes. The hood is fitted. I just gotta, I think on this hood, that lip right there needs to come off. So that lip, because it sits about that much higher, so I'm gonna take that lip off the hood and let it sit flat down on that whole panel. Let's see how that looks. I'm gonna get a piece of the hood that I cut off the side and take the little lip off first and see how it fits. And if it fits right, then I'm gonna take the whole lip off the whole hood. All right, here we keep going. All right, guys, so I picked up all the hardware for this thing. Try to get it together. Just came back from the hardware store. You can't buy anything anymore because everything's out of control. And so this fits real nice like this. The other one sat too far down and it was interfering with the bottom of the subframe here. Grade 8 bolts, 6-inch grade 8 bolts. Joe made up all the spacers for us and everything. Let me get a wrench. So I went out a little earlier and the price of gas was $4.69. I just went out now and it's $4.79. So can't even drive around and do nothing anymore. It's crazy. They don't even go. I remember when gas used to go a couple pennies at a time. Now it's, they don't even care now. Now it'll go 10, 30 cents at a clip. No warning, no nothing, man. Alright, that looks good. Let's see. Should be able to use the belt that he actually has. We'll find out in a minute. Alright. So that is going to go like that. Still haven't got the car back together, the Comet back together. Not like I'm going to go anywhere. I ain't going anywhere with that price of gas. We were supposed to go to NPK, and I I didn't go to any of those, which I'm not really crazy about going to that anyway, because they had so many issues with the tracks at the last 2 races they had. It ain't even funny anymore. But so that's that. Try this belt. Belt lines up nice. And ooh, yeah, buddy. All right. So we're good. We'll be able to use the original belt that he had, so we don't have to worry about that. Because he's got another setup like this that he uses the same belt on, so he'll have a nice spare. Got plenty of room. We still got more adjustment there. That's good. So we're good. And like I was saying, so we didn't go to any of the NPK thing. I was supposed to go to a 28's Going Wild down in North Carolina that they do at Fayetteville. And I didn't go to that because it's a little crazy, man. The price of gas is nuts. That's $1,000 trip in gas. So, but whatever. We're busy, so we'll just hold on to the money instead of spending it on that. We'll finish putting Josh's car together, get a couple more things going with that. So the Mustang's done and gone. That's been gone for a few days already. This is coming along real nice. It finally we got some shade over here, so it cooled down a little bit. I'm going to do that fiberglass work next. I just want to make sure this worked. We got this from Joe. So shout out to South Jersey Precision Machine. Beautiful work. All right, as always. So thanks, Joe, for that. And all right, that's the end of that part. So we got that working. Now we could keep moving on here.